Welcome to Coast to Coast Sports. I'm your host, Joey Caulo. I'm joined here by just Jacob Lev today. No Ryan Sundin. He's got his Christmas vacation started a little early, but nonetheless, we have tons and tons and tons of stuff to cover. We got Coach Graham getting fired after 6 seasons at the helm. Did actually go 15 games above 500, so we're going to touch on who maybe the next coach is, as well as ASU's also going bowling. So we'll see what are the bowl game possibilities and some of the intriguing matchups. And then to wrap it all up, of course, we have conference championship weekend. So let's not waste any time. Let's talk about the biggest news, and that is Todd Graham getting fired after 6 seasons. I'll just start with you. What is your just kind of gut and initial reaction to him getting fired after going 7-5 and 6-3 in the conference?
The timing was very bad for this firing. I feel like Todd Graham maybe should have been fired a year or two ago. Because this season, ASU was pretty successful, I think, for the expectations that were placed on them.
Definitely.
I just think it was really bad timing. I feel like the players really love Todd Graham, and they still do. I mean, Demario Richards has said that
he's been very vocal.
He's been very vocal. But also, I know you haven't mentioned it yet, but Herm Edwards might be coming in to the head coaching position, and Demario has been talking about that as well.
I mean, I think anytime, unless it's really been a dumpster fire of a situation, which thankfully this hasn't turned into, players are always going to miss the guy that left. I mean, that's who recruited him, that's who gave him the chance. I mean, that's their dude, that's their coach, that's who they go out and play for. But that being said, I think the change is still, I think it's still the right time for it to happen. I mean, it is still a little strange if you were to say that after starting 1-2, you're going to finish 7-5, and your only 2 losses in conference to begin are to the North champion, Stanford, South champion. There is that improvement that you see, but at the same time, from Ray Anderson's standpoint, he's kind of putting the pressure upon himself and saying, okay, yeah, 7-5, 6. We don't want to be that anymore. We're at a situation in our program's history where we've got the new facilities, we got the new video board, we have all this great fan base that's really growing by the year. We need to win now, and I think that's why he's getting rid of Graham. Now, another thing about this that people aren't focusing on, I think, with this Herm Edwards, now it isn't official. It's still waiting for President Crow's approval, but by all means, it's more than likely going to happen at this point.
Likely, yeah.
I think what not enough people are realizing is Ray Anderson's taking this from the standpoint of, this isn't a tear-down project. It's not like you got to throw a match on the football program and say, all right, let's blow it up, let's start it all over again. He's trying to get a coach in there that's going to keep the coordinators. Now, who's a good guy to go to that's going to keep everything the way it is? Somebody who hasn't coached in a while. If you want to go out and get a Sumlin, go get a big name, maybe like a Les Miles. I know you were interested in Les Miles.
Les Miles was someone that I thought maybe ASU should keep into consideration.
And absolutely, and there's a lot of those good coaches, but when you do that, Les Miles is going to have his guys in there. Someone's going to come in here, he's going to bring most of the staff from A&M. So I think Anderson, in a way, this decision is, okay, what we got right now is pretty good. We don't need to completely start over. We just need a little bit of a change at the top. We need some momentum. And I think going to Herm Edwards isn't a bad idea. What is your kind of opinion on that?
I personally love the Herm Edwards hire. I think that it's kind of an unpopular opinion around the Tempe area right now and the fan base. But I feel like Herm will bring, he's a TV personality.
Yeah.
He will be able to relate to these young players. I know a few people have asked some players about how they feel about it, and they also asked them, like, have they watched him? A lot of these young players don't have cable or whatever. Like, they don't watch SportsCenter nowadays where they could view him. But he's going to be able to sit down with these players. He's going to be able to recruit very well. I think that this can either be a really good hire, or obviously with any other hire, it could turn out to be bad too.
And one of the things I get from it is, living in the Phoenix area now for about 2.5 years. This is the first time when I turn on my radio, what's the subject? It's ASU football. It's not Cardinals, it's not about the Suns, it's not about the Diamondbacks. It is, for every day for the past week pretty much since Graham got fired, it's been about ASU. So you put the eyeballs on the program, and you can say, well, some of that is negative, and what are they doing firing the coach? Nonetheless, that's eyeballs. That's airtime that you just don't get. If you keep Todd Graham after 7-5 season, that's probably the fifth story is, ASU's going to a bowl game. This brings eyeballs to the program. You watch nationally next year. You got big games in September against the likes of Michigan State. I believe you put Stanford's coming to town. Those games are going to be nationally televised. It's not going to be Pac-12 Network. Eyeballs will be on that game. Now, part of it is it's going to just be pure curiosity. And, oh, wow, Herm Edwards is a coach again. Let's see if it goes good, if it goes bad. But at the end of the day, that's eyeballs that are on your program that you didn't have beforehand. So if you do good next year, you come out, you get 9, 10-win games, absolute success. And who knows what can happen from there. That being said, he is 64 years old, so there is a little bit of a question is how is he going to relate to a room full of 18, 19, 20-year-olds, but at the same time,
he's a TV personality.
He's a TV personality. No one's ever questioned his character. He's run the All-American game for the past many years. I see the alarms, and anytime you haven't been on a college campus since 1989, that's well constituted, but I think there's more upside to this pick than there is downside. So based off that, ASU still had decent season in Pac-12, a 6-3, just losses to Stanford SC, a bad loss to UCLA, but nonetheless, if you were going to go 2-7 in 2016 in the conference, you go 6-3 the next year. That's an improvement. So, offensive, defensive MVP. Give me a guy on offense, a guy on defense that you thought really helped ASU make that jump this year.
Well, on offense, I'm going to give it to Manny Wilkins. He has improved. He came out after a pretty mediocre last year, came out this year, and he balled for a bit. He kind of had a little slumps here and there, had a couple bad games, a couple bad throws, whatever. A lot of quarterbacks do. But he came out and he put this team on his back. He's my offensive MVP. On defense, I'm going to go Calhoun. DJ Calhoun. He had a great season. I think he's up there in the Pac-12 in leading in tackles and stuff too. So he came out. He's also another one that had a really good season.
In 12 games, he started and played all 12 games. In those 12 games, exactly one missed tackle. When you consider, those are pretty good stats, and you consider that's usually like a Manti Tao a few years ago when he was up for the Heisman, he had one missed tackle. So that's a guy, definitely held it together. Sticking with defense, just because you said DJ Calhoun, he's very deserved. I'm going to go with Christian Sam. Middle linebacker position. He just seemed like a guy who never took a play off. It didn't matter if it was in a blowout to USC or if it was in a close game to Colorado or the rivalry game against Arizona. Christian Sam was bringing his all, and he was doing a good job getting the defense in line. So, yes, definitely number 2 and number 3, Calhoun and Sam. Unfortunately, those guys are seniors. That's going to be 2 guys that Herm Edwards or whoever the next head coach isn't going to be able to enjoy their talents. Are going to be missed. On the offensive side of the ball, Manny's obviously very deserved, but I'm going to go ahead and go with N'Keal Harry. At the end of the day, in that University of Arizona game, when it was close and ASU's losing, and there were 2 separate times where it was third and goal from the 8 or 9, you need a big play, who do you go to? You throw the ball to number 1, see what can happen. He has exactly on the mark 1,000 yards, which in my opinion, he should have even more. I think the offense should be drawn up more around him. But even from coming in and running the Sparky offense, he had a couple touchdown passes. This is a guy, without question, you look on the field, he's the best player on the field, almost no matter who you play. I'll give it to N'Keal. But obviously, 7 games, you're going to a bowl game. Something ASU hasn't been able to do since 2015 when they went down the street and played at Chase Field and took a tough loss to West Virginia. Where do you see them kind of placing this year? There is a possibility to go back to the Cactus Bowl. I know for one, I don't want that. I think the players, it's good for a bowl game to just get out, so a change of scenery and just go to a new city. I'm hoping for the Sun Bowl. What are you kind of looking at?
I'm going to have to agree with you on that. I feel like the Sun Bowl, I've heard we might play NC State, which means we have to go against Bradley Chubb. And also, I heard ASU might be playing Louisville, which both games are pretty interesting because you got Lamar Jackson. That's going to be a little bit tough for ASU to stop.
Sure.
But I feel like both games, no matter who we play in the Sun Bowl, I feel like it would be a good game.
I think so. Sun Bowl was where the Sun Devils landed in 2014 against Duke. Yes, had a victory there, got to 10 wins. So really the Pac-12 has been so the cannibalism has been so big, everybody beating everybody. that to be a 7-5 team and make it in the Sun Bowl, that's a huge success. Usually Sun Bowl, you're looking at a 9-10 win team. So to get in there, get a matchup against a marquee guy like Lamar Jackson, and I think that's something that, despite with all the controversy of Coach Graham being fired, I think that should be something the team should get fired up. You know, you play Lamar Jackson, a Heisman winner, on national television. I know I'd be interested in going over to El Paso and go to the game. So hoping for the Sun Bowl. There is also a possibility I saw for the Las Vegas Bowl, matching up either against Boise State or Colorado State. That's meh, in my opinion. I want
That's marquee matchup.
Yeah, I want to play. If I'm calling my shots, I want Louisville. I want NC State in the Sun Bowl. But there's still a lot to be figured out in this last weekend here. Conference championship games. You never know what could happen. A lot of big-time playoff implications starting tomorrow. Go ahead and start with the game I think I'm most excited to watch tomorrow, Auburn and Georgia. The SEC championship game. The West has won, I believe, every year since 2009. So this is, historically speaking, this has been very one-sided, but I don't see this game being one-sided. I really could see this going either way. What do you think between Auburn and Georgia tomorrow? Obviously, Georgia has already taken one on the chin at Auburn earlier this year, only actually a couple weeks ago. But what do you see happening?
Is there a quarterback that's playing better than Jarrett Stidham right now?
Whew,
it's a tough question.
He's playing every bit as good as Mayfield, who's probably going to get the Heisman. So.
Exactly. I am going to take Auburn in this game. I feel like you got to ride the hot hand. They beat Bama last week.
Yes.
A Nick Saban-led team, and that's not a walk in the park.
Absolutely.
Playing a Bama team. You got to ride the hot hand here. Georgia is a great team. I feel like they will give Auburn a run for their money. Gus Malzahn.
It won't be a blowout like
it will not be a blowout by any means. It's going to be a great game to watch. But I really do think Stidham is going to come out and he's going to lead this Auburn team to a win and to the college playoffs.
Yeah. I think this is a year, if you just look purely at the championship game, where in the SEC typically when it's your Bama versus Florida, it's the best defense gets in. This is a year where probably the best two quarterbacks in the conference are in there, Jared Stidham and Jake Fromm over there at Georgia.
Right.
So this has almost kind of been a more of an offensive season for the SEC. Feels kind of weird saying that. Auburn's put up a lot of points. Georgia's put up a lot of points this week. Interesting stat about the SEC championship. When it is a rematch, there's been, since the history of the game, I believe there's been 7 or 8 rematches of teams who played earlier in the year. Every single time, the team that won in the regular season has also won the championship game. So you consider that usually you go against that. You would say the revenge game, whoever lost the first time is going to win the second one. That hasn't been the case in the SEC championship game. That being said, I feel like it's time for the numbers to start flipping. I think Georgia's going to get their revenge. I think Fromm's going to play excellent. Georgia's just got, they're much better than that team that showed up and lost in Auburn by, 3 or 4 touchdowns a few weeks ago. They'll come out ready to play. I love Kirby Smart, big Kirby Smart fan. He'll have them ready to go. Close game, say Georgia wins it close at the end and gives the SEC East their first championship in almost a decade. Also in conference championships, Pac-12 championship game going on later tonight between Stanford and SC.
It's going to be a good game.
It's going to be a good game. Both teams hot. Stanford lost to USC, but that was the 2nd or 3rd week of college football season, and that's so long ago. Both of these teams' identities have kind of evolved since then. So I think this is anyone's game. You got Stanford or USC tonight?
I do have SC. It's hard to go against Sam Darnold. He might not have had a great season by his standards, but he's still a great quarterback.
He's the best quarterback on the field.
He's the best quarterback on the field. KJ Costello is a freshman. He's probably, in a year, we'll be talking about him being maybe the best quarterback on the field. But I'm going to take Sam Darnold in this one. I feel like the USC team is going to be too much. And also, watch out for Ronald Jones. He's trying to make a name for himself. He's going to be playing on Sundays.
Yes, absolutely.
Come next NFL season.
Yes.
So watch out for him, as they call him, the Texas Tesla.
That's right. Yeah, if I remember correctly, Ronald Jones in his freshman year at USC was saying he's having migraines and headache problems because he wasn't eating Whataburger. So hopefully he can somehow get some Whataburger before the game, or he's been doing just fine without it thus far this season. Maybe subbing an In-N-Out burger instead. I really like what USC has done, but something about Stanford, when you got David Shaw as your coach, you got a great running
Hard
back
to go against him.
like Bryce Love. When you got a guy that you're able to just hand the ball off to and he can pound, get you 25 carries, if he's healthy. I know he's been kind of dinged up. If he's at 100%, I really like Stanford in this game tonight, mainly because David Shaw always seems, if they stumble a little bit early in the season, he gets it fixed by this time. I'll go to Stanford just to just have a different pick from you.
Fair.
Nonetheless, a good game. I think both the Pac-12 and the SEC championship games, these are two evenly matched games. They're about as good as a conference championship
As you can get.
As you can get. Just one more conference championship game really of note. Well, I guess two more. You got Big Ten. I think it's Wisconsin. Do you think otherwise?
I think it's Ohio State.
You do think Ohio State?
I think Dwayne Haskins is going to come in. Is going to do a Cardell Jones impression.
Okay.
And is going against the same team that Cardell Jones pounded on in Wisconsin a couple of years back. So I'm gonna go. It's hard to go against Urban Meyer.
Yeah,
It's hard to. It really is.
It is. I totally understand that, but there's something. I kind of have doubted this Wisconsin team this entire year, and I've almost picked against them in every toss-up game thus far.
Same here.
I gotta go with Wisconsin. I don't know. I've picked against them so many times. They're 12-0 for a reason. They're a good team. Ohio State, yes, they're Ohio State. They have Urban Meyer, but something's got to tell me. Wisconsin, they win, they're in the playoff. They got more to play for. They have more to play for, I should say. Whereas Ohio State, you win, maybe you're in the playoff, you're probably not. You're probably just going to play a New Year's Six game. I like Wisconsin, get it done. And then just real quick, ACC championship game, Clemson versus the University of Miami. Miami obviously just had that hiccup against Pitt.
Yeah.
Do you see him rebounding, or is this Dabo's
I think
game?
It's again, as I said, it's hard to go against good coaches. Dabo is one of the best in the game. I'm going to take Kelly Bryant and Clemson over. Miami has lost Mark Walton, their star running back. They've also had a couple injuries on defense too.
Yeah.
As much as I love the turnover
chain, yeah.
I'm gonna have to go Kelly Bryant in this game.
And I know if you have watched last episode of this, I was all on the U. I thought they were kind of on a one-way track to possibly play Bama or somebody in the championship game. That completely changed when they played at Pitt. It's one thing, you know, an upset late in the season, but against a 4-7 Pitt team, you're telling me you can't come in more fired up?
Yep.
You're trying to play for a championship, and you're going to lay down against Pitt. I mean, they laid down. It was 24-7. 24-14 was the final score. It wasn't even that close.
Right.
Their offense was pitiful. This is out of all the championship games, I think this will be the biggest blowout. I see Clemson coming in there. They just blew out South Carolina. I think Clemson, Kelly Bryant, like you said, Dabo Swinney, they're going to roll over the U and get right on into that playoff. So to kind of round it out, since it's our last weekend, who is that top 4 team? Now it's the picture is somewhat clear. Who is 1 through 4 for you?
Well, I'm not going to give seedings. I'm just going to give 4 teams.
Sure.
Auburn, Ohio State, Clemson.
So Ohio State's going to get in.
Ohio, I have.
They're going to jump in.
I have Ohio State, and I also have Oklahoma, obviously.
Okay.
Baker Mayfield's going to take care of business this weekend against TCU. I can guarantee it.
I see where you're coming from that Ohio State pick, but I think with Georgia beating Auburn's going to have 3 losses, so they're out. I think good old Bama's going to sneak in there at 4. The thing is, Bama's going to come in as the 4th seed, and they're going to be favored in every game they play. It's just how it is. So I think Georgia wins. That'll probably jump them up to the 1 seed more than likely. Clemson will get in. They'll blow out Miami. We'll get Wisconsin in there. And then I think Bama's going to be the 4th seed. I really think.
Oklahoma's not going to be in it at all?
Oh, my mistake. I would say, Oklahoma with TCU, I think if it comes down, if it gets really close and they really have to start splitting hairs on it, and let's say Oklahoma pulls out one they weren't supposed to, they didn't play better than TCU, then I think absolutely Bama would leap from. Put it this way, whether it's Oklahoma gets booted out, maybe it's another team. I just have a hard time seeing Bama not being in the playoff if Georgia is to win the SEC championship game. I think if Auburn wins, it makes it a little bit more clear cut because they beat Bama head to head. But I think if it's Georgia wins, I don't know. We're going to get 2 SEC teams in there, and maybe it's an Oklahoma or Wisconsin even. If Wisconsin loses to Ohio State, then without question, Bama's going to get in there instead of Ohio State, I would say. But either way, it's amazing to think that this is the last weekend of college football season already. I thought it was, nothing goes by faster than college football season, in my opinion. We have a full slate of bowl games coming up, but nonetheless, it is always sad to see the season come to an end. It also rounds up coast-to-coast coverage of the college football season as well. So for Ryan Sundin, who's not here, and Jacob Lev to my left, thank you guys for tuning in and watching, and we'll see you next time.